Solo Leveling by Gong. Epilogue 1. Inside of an egg, the unborn Baru could hear the queen ant's voice through the thick shell. For the kingdom! For the kingdom! Bring fear to all those who stand in our way! Bring fear to all those who stand in our way. Baru needed to become strong. He had to be strong. This was the first mission given to the sleeping embryonic Baru. The queen's drive to build a bigger kingdom had created a horrifying monster. Screa! The young ant soldier broke out of his egg with a roar. Based on the killing intent in his eyes, Baru was incomparable to any other ant. The queen was thrilled by her masterpiece. This child can definitely defeat those humans with the strange powers. The queen's eyes twinkled. But before she could give the most powerful warrior his first order, the hungry Baru did as he wished. He took hold of the hand of one of the workers who had helped him hatch. Before the worker ant realized what was going on, Baru bit off its head. Crunch, crunch! Even the queen was shocked by Baru's unexpected actions, but, overwhelmed by his presence, she didn't think to stop him. Baru finished his meal and stood before the queen as the worker ant's bodily fluids dripped disgustingly from his mouth. Bring fear to all those. Yet the source of this powerful fear would bring fear to their allies as well. Realizing this, the queen had a look around. The brave soldiers of her kingdom were quivering in fear. Being in control of these soldiers, she was able to sense how they felt now. Baru had passed her test. In her mind, she had given birth to her best work yet. Become even stronger. The queen gave Baru another command to prepare for the invasion of the humans' territory. Become unstoppable. Baru began eating everything on the island, from small creatures such as earthworms and larvae to huge fish and mammals from the ocean. He didn't even hesitate to eat his own kind when there was not enough food. As he devoured every living thing in sight, he realized one thing. They were all afraid of him. It didn't matter if they were poisonous or huge. They all had the same look of fear in their eyes whenever he faced them, because survival was both the basic and ultimate goal of every living creature. Again and again, Baru was met with proof that he was at the top of the food chain. I am an apex predator. Baru's head broke through the surface of the water, where he could see the land at the edge of the ocean. Out there beyond the water was a different world. Mother keeps warning me about those powerful humans. How strong will they be? He was curious whether there truly existed adversaries so strong that he, an apex predator, had to continue to train himself. Was he strong enough to take them yet? Baru's gaze kept returning to the mainland. It is too early. The queen could see inside Baru's head and shut down his curiosity. He had no choice in the matter. Baru stared at the mainland in a daze before submersing himself in the water again. He would find his answers in due time. For now, he would wait quietly as per the queen's command. When the humans finally set foot on the island, Baru got the opportunity to test his true power for the first time. What are you? Ah! But it wasn't a battle. It was but a one-sided hunt, a typical day for Baru. Seeing how scared the hunters were was an utter disappointment to him. Fight these weaklings. Had Baru waited all that time just for this? His prey gave off the scent of intense fear. Once again, Baru was confirmed as being at the top of the food chain. How boring. Just then, an adversary who didn't fear him appeared. Never having experienced this, Baru's heart began to pound. Human, are you not afraid of me? Not wanting to kill the human right away, Baru addressed him. Are you the king of humans? The human replied, To think a bug could talk. It was likely the second time any living creature looked at Baru with an emotion other than fear in their eyes. Twinkle, twinkle. Baru broke out into a cold sweat as he looked at the young master staring at him with bright eyes. No matter how he tried to escape the suffocating pressure. "Auntie! Auntie!" Even if he flew up to the sky to do so. "Auntie! Auntie!" The little master was right behind him when Baru looked over his shoulder. Naturally, it would have been easy to get away from this toddler if Baru really tried. But the problem was that he was the son of the master. If the little master got hurt while chasing after the ant, Baru would be responsible. "Auntie!" Eventually, among the three marshals, it fell to Baru to assist Hain in caring for Suho. Baru put Suho to sleep and then returned to the realm of eternal rest. As he quietly sank into a shadow, the world of endless darkness spread out before him. Others may think this place was frightening, but Baru was comfortable here under his monarch's authority. Baru was in deep thought as he made his way to the territory of the ant army. Why does the little master keep looking for me? Baru couldn't figure it out. After all, to this day, people freaked out when they saw him. With this question in mind, Baru changed course. Would it be more helpful to consult a human to get answers about the human mind? Because his master didn't like turning humans into shadow soldiers, there were barely any formerly human soldiers in their ranks. However, Baru knew of one shadow soldier who used to be human, Marshal Igris. When Baru explained his conundrum to Igris, the knight immediately had an answer for him. "What's not to like?" Nodding, Igris quickly elaborated. "An ant that is bigger than a human who can walk, fly, and even talk. What's not to like for a toddler?" Baru had never thought of it that way. He pondered Igris's response over and over as he returned to the territory of the ant army. The little master liked Baru because he was bigger than a human and could fly and talk. But if he liked Baru for such simple reasons, couldn't he just as easily dislike him? Baru had heard when human children grow into adulthood, they would lose their interest in insects. The thought of this brought his mood down. Baru had gotten used to others' looks of disgust, but it made him sad to think the little master might one day look upon him the same way. Baru changed course again as he flew in silence. This time, he arrived at a construction site. Bearded dwarves and ant soldiers were working on a humongous stone statue of their monarch, as per Baru's plan. They bowed at him as soon as they spotted him. The bearded dwarf elder, who oversaw the construction site, ran out and welcomed Baru. "Grand Marshal, you're here." Baru inspected their work before turning to the elder. "I want to change the plan a little bit." "Pardon me?" Although he was trembling in fear, the elder attempted to dissuade Baru from wasting their hard work. "The plan was to complete this statue of the monarch to celebrate his 32nd birthday and... No, I'm not throwing it out. I just want to change one part here." The elder quietly nodded as he listened to Baru's explanation. "Yes, this is most certainly possible. I think the result will be even better, Marshal Baru." "Hee hee." "Good." They both grinned at each other excitedly. "Then we'll go ahead." Baru put his index finger on his lips and interrupted him. "I'll be back after I take care of some business." "Are we really doing this, boss? Come on. You backing out?" "And no, boss." The man glared at his lackey sitting in the front passenger seat of the car and then turned to look at the house again. It was a 2-story home built in a remote area, as if the owner was purposefully avoiding other people. It was the house of Detective Jin Woo-sung. Having checked several times, the men were confident they were at the right house. "Our organization is gone because of Jin Woo-sung. It's time for some payback. An eye for an eye, right?" "That's right, boss." The 3 lackeys answered at the same time. "Good." "We are a team of 4 burglars. His wife and kid were killed by burglars. Got it? Yes, boss. The boss had a sinister smile on his face. Despite the size of the house, it had no security system. It was practically an open invitation. These people were lucky they hadn't been robbed until now. Keep cool and don't screw up. The lackeys nodded. Let's go! CHK, 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 CHK. The four men carefully got out of the car and approached the house before rushing to climb over the wall. Having practiced this several times, they were able to scale the wall easily. Tack! Only 4 feet hit the ground. What happened to the other 2 guys? The boss looked at the lackey next to him, who was shaking his head. 4 people had climbed the wall, but only 2 had landed on the other side. How did that make sense? The boss spun around, then looked back to see his 3rd lackey had also vanished. Those idiots. Enraged, the boss forgot himself for a moment and was about to yell. But suddenly a hand covered his mouth. Shoo! The little master had just fallen asleep. His nap was not to be interrupted by pesky, uninvited guests. Luckily, Baru could still hear the little master snoring. Satisfied, Baru looked at the human. HNN! 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 It was a familiar look. It was a familiar feeling. Prey always looked the same in the presence of a predator. As much as Baru appreciated his liege's trust and the little master's affections, this felt good to him too. Hee hee! Baru relished the fear in the man's eyes as he dragged him away. The screams ended as abruptly as they had started. What do you think? The elder proudly presented the statue of the monarch to Baru. The statue bearing their master's visage was so incredibly tall that one had to strain their neck looking up to see the top of it. Every bearded dwarf and ant soldier had been summoned to complete the statue on time. Hee hee! Baru looked upon the statue with satisfaction, noting the change he'd requested. As you asked, on his left shoulder. The little master was perched on their master's left shoulder. The father and the son. Their king would likely be elated at the sight of this grand and beautiful statue. And it would certainly be a significant gift to present the little master should he visit this place in the distant future. Baru laughed out loud at the inevitability. Kia! The bearded dwarves and the ant soldiers laughed along with him. Ha 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 ha. Yaw! A toddler's joyful shriek interrupted the laughter. Surprised, Baru looked over his shoulder to find a toddler standing there. Auntie! As they say, like father, like son. Suho was already able to enter the realm of eternal rest. Marshal Baru, currently the one in charge of helping to raise the child, gave a deep sigh. Scraw!